Oh, come on. I know you can hear me. Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's hump day. That's what it is. It is hump day. Good morning, neighbors. On this hump day Wednesday, the 16th day of August. We're in the second half of August. Did somebody say already? You know, that means 131 days to Christmas. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us on Power 1 and 2 Digital on the Power Breakfast Show. Full casting this morning. You just heard from Paul Richards, news brief. We'll hear from Wendell Stephen, Richard Raghubar Singh. We got Ruben in the background. My name is Steve Khan. We're going to keep you company until 9 o'clock this morning. All right. So let's get straight into it. Let's see what's happening with the WTs. I'm starting out in San Fernando. Nothing really to tell you about. But the minute you hit Claxton Bay, it is slow going all the way up to the interchange. You're going to get some ease up just after Sugargonas, and after Monroe Road is when you're going to pick it up again. Piarco towards UE, volume, and of course from QREP into pretty much Baratares volume again. Nothing to tell you about on the Eastern Main Road. All right, let's get into the weather, see what's happening. We got some rain here and there, heavy as well. It is 25 degrees at Piarco International Airport, 24 in Crown Point in Tobago. And of course, the weather for today, partly cloudy to cloudy at times with a few light to moderate showers. Rain over broad areas. There's a medium chance, 40 to 60%. Some of these showers would become heavy and or thundery. These conditions would improve gradually into nightfall. However, still expect isolated showers and the lingering thunderstorm. Okay, that's what they're saying for the weather for today. But let's check some temps across the globe. 18 in Toronto. Miami, you're at 27. Orlando, 26. New York, 21 with a drizzle. Atlanta, clear, 19. London, partly cloudy, and 22. Tampa, 27. And Washington, D.C., you're at 21 degrees. All right, so there you go. Sometimes across our listenership. And let me throw it across, before I throw it across, before I get buff, let's see who sent us hellos first thing this morning on this Hump Day Wednesday. Maria Marva, first off the gate. Got Celia in Valencia. It's probably raining up that side. DJ Ray out in Delaware. Miss Ingrid in Tucson, Arizona. Good morning to you. Oliver Man Warren. Wendy Ann. Carol Guevara. CJ in New York. Good morning to you as well. On YouTube, we got Rena Boodoo Jennings watching us. Doreen Pierre. Good morning to you. Ray out in West Palm Beach, Florida. Good morning. Mike Black. Ms. Maloney Doodoo. Good morning. Well, look at messages. Doreen Pierre. Urban Santana. Good morning. Eastlyn Alexander. Marcia Rock. Locked on every morning. And Mo Gaines out in Aruka. Good morning to you. Good morning to you, gentlemen. Good morning, Wendell.
Steve. Morning, Wendell. Morning, everyone.
You're muted, Wendell.
Right. Good morning, gentlemen. Morning, Paul, Steve, Richard, and Trinidad and Tobago, and of course, all our international people who join us every single morning. It's a rainy morning in Trinidad and Tobago. It's a rainy morning. It looks like it's raining all over, actually.
Yeah, it just started in
so be safe. Be safe out there. We're here. We're happy to be in the land of the living. Happy birthday quickly to Newborn Clark. He's celebrating his birthday today. Ian Sandy, Andel George, Aisha Wells, former councillor, and Stephen Lee Baines. He is also celebrating his birthday today. All right. So happy birthday to all the others who would have celebrated birthdays over the last few days, including Gerard Darlington. I know he listens to us. He celebrated his birthday in election day, and who made a prediction that I poo-pooed at last week. And Gerard, I hope you're listening, but your predictions were way off. And of course, Golden Lee Bruce also celebrated her birthday on election day, August 14th. All right, so happy birthday to you all. And of course, all I can say is what I told you also more than a month ago. NTA will not win a single seat.
Good morning, Paul. Yeah.
The PDP will not win a single seat. The ILP will, well, they didn't contest. None, and I told you all it will remain. PNM will win what they normally win. UNC will win what they normally win, and we'll continue. I told you all that more than a month ago, and it didn't change. So, good morning.
You were right. Well, I wouldn't say there was no change, but the allocation of 7-7 held true as you predicted.
Mhm.
Yeah. I know
There
a
was
lot
some-
of people were saying the PDP will take a couple seats, the NTA. Even a very good friend of mine, who I'm sure he's listening, Adande Pigot, said, yeah, the PEP will make some inroads. I said, no. Inroads where? Trinidadians, I should say. They are not going to be voting for the People's Partnership in whatever transformation they try along the East-West corridor. It's not going to happen again. They made that mistake twice, and they're not going to, and that is what they need to get power in Trinidad and Tobago. The East-West corridor to buy into the BS or the fake and the deceit to try to get them back into central government again. Because unless they could swing the East-West corridor back their way, it's not going to happen. So the whole map with a whole set of land will look yellow, because that's the trick now, to put up this map of where they control. Well, guess what? It's land.
How is that a trick, though?
Well, I'm just saying it's a trick on the mind, because for somebody
It's a trick in the mind, okay? Because I don't that putting up the bona fide legal districts that you have won, as the PNM has done, is a trick. How is that a trick?
Well, the PNM don't put up no map. I'm just saying,
Well, maps go up because maps represent areas of the 14 corporations won by any of the parties contesting. So it's not a trick.
You know, sometimes you don't finish, let me talk. It's a mind trick. It is a mind game by putting up a map showing these districts that are largely land-based. It is a mind trick. It is a trick on anybody, and especially for people who don't know Trinidad, that this is where the UNC controls. This is yellow place. It's land.
So every country that puts up maps like the US, red and blue, is a mind trick too. Or the UK, Victoria is a mind trick too. It's a mind trick too. It's a mind trick all over the world.
You could give your interpretation of it, but that is my interpretation of it.
So the UNC amassed 173,961 votes, or 52.6% of those who voted. The PNM 130,868, or 39.7% of the vote. The NTA 15,997, or 4.8% of the vote. The total votes cast on Monday was 331,300, or 30.34%, which is about 4% less than those who voted in
2019.
Which means the number of people who voted went down despite a vociferous campaign. And I think people are just turned off.
Well, it's consistent with local government, you know?
No,
I don't know.
It's consistent with local government generally.
Mm-hmm.
But for the number to drop, there has to be a reason that the number dropped even more. It was low, it's generally low to start with, but to be reduced by about 4% is even more telling to me that there's something that's happening in the country where, one, people don't think, and Richard said it yesterday, I think Minister Nobrega also said it, and Philip Alexander also said it, that people don't see local government as having the kind of impact on their lives to make it worth they even getting out of the house and going and vote.
Yes.
Clearly, that's kind of very obvious. They may be right, you know, and a lot of people didn't, because people go out to vote generally to get whoever it is out of office. That's our style. That has been our tradition here. We get up to get somebody out of office. So clearly, with all the rhetoric against the current government and the PNM, people didn't see the need to get up and go and get them out of office. You understand? People didn't see that need. They didn't buy into the light it up, stand your ground, knock it and cock it. They didn't buy into it. They didn't listen. Right? So, guess what? Also, they probably didn't even listen to the PNM's campaign about local government reform and how important it was for us. You know, because the seven districts, the 7 municipalities have not changed hands. So, once the PNM, and I hope they do, pursue local government reform, they better do it, you know. You understand? Then all 14 municipalities, 7 by the UNC and 7 by the PNM, will benefit. And local government people, as it is now, this is a 4-year term. We've established that. That is the only thing that we have established thus far in local government reform, that this is a 4-year term. But the other aspects of it, they have got to start implementing it. Hopefully, they will put the leaders of these 14 municipalities, because 7 on the PNM side, 7 on the UNC side. Hopefully, the people who will lead these councils will be people who would be thinking along those lines and make it happen, and not just people who glad to wear a chain and take a picture. You understand?
Good morning, Rabbi Bassi.
Hi, good morning, guys.
Morning, Rich.
Yeah, and good morning, Trinidad and Tobago, and good morning to our listeners wherever you are.
Morning, Richard. How are you? You're
How
on the
was the
road,
road this
right?
morning?
Yeah, I am on the road, so I can't use the camera. So
All right.
I was planning to be on the road earlier, but obviously I'm a little late on the road.
Yeah. A clip of the Prime Minister from election night and a clip of Watson Duke following the PDP's, how should I call it? Let me put the number up.
PDP's demise in Trinidad?
I'm looking for the kind.
All of a sudden now he's saying votes don't matter. Votes don't count.
But I'm not right. He got 1,287 votes. So the crushing defeat. I can't even call it a defeat, because a defeat means that you actually were contending. So, like Tobago and sleep on the call. Anyway, you notice the ones who answered the phone kind of turned up. Okay. Note to self: the ones who answered the phone and came on our show kind of showed up a little bit. Are you friend? Are you friend, sir?
Are you referring to the leaders?
Well, they were all represented in one way or the other. Right, so here's Dr. Rowley from election night.
We went in with 7, and tonight we have come out with 7. Well done, PNM. So, but the bottom line is, it doesn't matter how much votes they got. The PNM won every seat. So we're not going to split any hairs about counting how many votes there and who got the popular vote. In the Westminster system, first past the post, you fight for seats. You fight for seats. And we have won Diego Martin, all the seats in Diego Martin. We won all the seats in Port of Spain. So the shocking new mayor that was being promised is not going to be had. We've won significantly in Sawa Laventil. We won handsomely in Piako, Tunapuna. We tied 1 seat in Arima, otherwise we'd have won all the seats in Arima. And of course, we won all the seats in Point 14. Yes. Great is the PNM.
Richard, what seat was tied in Arima?
There were a couple close seats in Arima. I know the one with Fish, was kind of close. There was about 200 votes separating it, but Arima Northeast was very competitive for the UNC.
Okay.
I think that's one of the seats that they're recounting. Okay. So it's kind of indicative. If I had to give a note to the PNM, don't take Arima for granted.
Well, PNM should have known that
because
without.
obviously there's a certain amount of.
Hello? We're losing
A
you.
certain
Richard.
amount of
Yeah,
what, Richard?
I'm just saying that you're hearing me, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
we're hearing you
Touching
now.
on that.
Yeah.
certain
So no,
number
I'm just saying because Northeast, Arima Northeast was competitive, and I think the PNM probably will still win it. Because I think that's one of the seats that is being recounted.
Yeah, it is.
There are 2 seats in Arima being recounted. But I know Arima Northeast is one, which is Arima Northeast is pretty much a lot of central Arima.
And the Rima West Women.
I mean, Arima West Momera is the other one.
Mhm.
But the main idea, you have very competitive seats. What is usually a PNM stronghold is I think a reflection of burgeoning dissatisfaction. I don't think people in Arima necessarily love the UNC, but I think some of that.
He can't call Fish seat a PNM safe seat because he won it for the UNC.
He did win it for the UNC.
Yeah.
So obviously there's a certain amount of dissatisfaction that people will vote whoever the other party is if they need to, if there's a certain amount of dissatisfaction. And so I would just say I think it's a cautionary tale to the People's National Movement in a sense, because I hear the Prime Minister's spin on you win seats, you don't win votes, but the popular vote does matter. It gives you a sentiment of where people are. And if the PNM had
always win the popular vote, you know.
But what I'm saying is if the PNM had won the popular vote, the PNM would have been touting that they won the popular vote. So popular vote matters in a democracy. In the Westminster system, of course, it's seats that matter. But you can't discount that the popular vote indicates a mood. Now, to be fair to the PNM, their midterm, which is at the point at which you can be the most unpopular. But I think the driving dissatisfaction with people on the ground are 2 issues: crime, obviously, and the issue of the economy, and how does that affect my pocket and my ability to go into the supermarket and maintain the quality of my life. And I don't think you could just keep saying keeping all of these suggestions to deal with crime without seeing any results. Because for a lot of people, they're frustrated that there are no results as far as they're concerned with regard to crime. In fact, the highest murder rate ever is under the PNM's watch. That's the facts.
Another interesting data point.
And they have to deal with it. They have to deal with it if they want to hold on to power in 2025.
When you look at the reduction in votes, for some reason, well, there was a significant reduction in votes generally, but the number of votes that the UNC reduced by and the PNM reduced by is different, because the PNM general votes reduced by more in the context of the overall low voter turnout. So that's something also in terms of the PNM.
I don't think you're right about that, you know. They both dropped about 30,000, between 20 and 30,000 votes, you know. They both from 2019, you know.
That's the data point I saw last night.
UNC in 2019 had just over 200,000 and they dropped to 170. The PNM in 2019 had, I think, around 150 something thousand and they dropped to 130. So I don't think you're right.
I'll get the data point. I stand
whatever the exact numbers are. But obviously, I think there's a lot of the population that sees neither party as motivational. They may have to vote, and they will vote. And they will vote along the lines of who they align with. And then there are, independent voters that basically just switching back and forth, and maybe may vote as the UNC got the popular vote, maybe vote as a protest against the PNM because crime is an issue. But ultimately, roughly 70% of the electorate said, I can't be bothered. And that has to be concerning to the PNM and the UNC, who obviously have different problems in how the electorate see you. They both have their different issues in how the electorate sees you. And the electorate obviously doesn't see them, at least the majority of the electorate, if it's judging from local government, didn't feel that it was worth their time coming out to vote for either.
Yeah. Gavin Nicholas wrote a post on Facebook. I don't generally agree with him, but I had to agree with this post. He wrote, "This local government election has reinforced an inevitability that I have been debating, pondering, and even resisting. Trinidad and Tobago, like the USA, and more or less the UK, is a two-party state. We might wish it to be different, but it is what it is." He said, "The challenge, therefore, is not to present an alternative opposition to the government. The human and financial resources are not there for this, but to make the opposition attractive enough that people will want to vote it into government. This burden falls to the elected leader of the opposition." He said, "Personality and grudge politics have no place in a serious democracy." You should read it. I found it interesting that Gavin would have written that, because Gavin was also part of this coalition trying to get the PNM out in local government. He was part of the UNC's coalition, right? But it makes interesting reading, and I tend to agree with sentiments here. That the reality is that we are, in fact, a two-party state.
We could ask that as a question this morning, if they believe Trinidad and Tobago is indeed a two-party state.
Good question.
The areas that are being recounted at the moment are Arima Northeast, Arima West Umera, Ozenville, Tunapuna, Bagatelle, Blue Basin, Blanchichere, Santa Rosa, Coquille, Taruba, Five Ripples, Lengua, is that how you pronounce it?
Lengua, yeah. Lengua.
Lengua, Indian Walk, Marabella West, Marabella South, Vistabella, Mayaro North, Sangre Grande Northeast, and San Juan East.
And 12 of those recounts have been asked for by the UNC. Two of them asked for by the PNM. I know San Juan East has completed, because I'm in a chat with that group. And San Juan East, the PNM increased their vote by 1, and UNC lost 1 of the votes. So San Juan East, I know, has been completed. That's Raphael John. That has been completed.
The other issue, of course, is I'm going to share this with you, and we can discuss it thereafter. The proposed mayor of Port of Spain.
Is there a proposed mayor?
Is on its way to rush through Tobago and to say to them, the time has come when we must vote for a real change. Change that create job opportunities, change that create business opportunities, change that creates an economy that resembles and looks like Tobago.
So, Trinidad, tell them how you tell. So you're going back to Tobago now. I mean, how should Tobagonians feel about that, really? You understand?
Fali in a whole heap of trouble in Tobago, so you never know.
And Duke is the answer?
Well, I was say you never know.
So after your campaign in Trinidad, and tell everybody you're going to be mayor of Port of Spain, and Trinidad tell you how you tell, they have time with you. You're going to be focused on Tobago now?
Duke tried to do a clever con job on the people of Port of Spain. First, by announcing he is contesting as mayor of Port of Spain. You don't contest as mayor of Port of Spain. And then you put people in there. You went and find people, pay them money. I know that for a fact because I was on the phone with somebody a day when he called, offering them money. You understand? Pay people money, buy all kind of things for the people, get them rum, ice cream, all manner of things in that area. Didn't contest all the seats. So from jump, you can't be the mayor because you ain't contesting all the seats, right? And then walking away. And I was in bothering to interview Watson Duke. I don't even know the 1,200 and how much ever people in East Port of Spain who vote for him. They must be feeling, oh gosh, well, he pay me. you know. But oh please, you know. And Gary Griffith too better not fool himself with that 15,000 votes. And that's how he making serious inroads into PNM territory. A lot of the votes Gary Griffith got was because UNC people down in the West voted also for his candidates. So he better not be fooled into thinking that it was NTA inspired people to come out to vote. No. And Ivan Thomas, I couldn't agree with you more, because this is exactly my thinking. The UNC base comes out to vote heavier than the PNM base. That has been traditional. That has been historical. So they will always get the popular vote. Always. Because
so
they
isn't
will
that something the PNM should be concerned about? That the PNM is not able to motivate its base to come out?
I'm not saying the PNM shouldn't be concerned, but I'm saying the UNC's base, and I keep telling all of this over the months now. You don't have to ask the UNC people to come out and vote for a UNC candidate. They don't know, they don't even have to know who it is. The person could do nothing in that area. They're going to vote for the candidate. That is a problem that the PNM has. You have to go and ask for the PNM vote. As a candidate, I know you have to, because people will tell you, you ain't even come and ask me for my vote. You understand? You ain't even come and say anything.
What trouble is this?
You know what? I know this is not really connected. It's just a little. How should I say it? A little beef that I have.
Sorry, guys. That was my host.
Yeah, when I was watching news last week, at two separate points in the news, on different days, and it's a point that I've made before, Wendell and Paul. There was a woman who had a son who had some joint problem, muscular problem. He's like 11 now. And she actually has to physically lift him up sometimes to take him to the bathroom and stuff, depending on whatever the medical condition is when it activates. And the place that she lives in, because they show you her house, was absolutely horrific, as far as I'm concerned. Horrific. Pitch forward to later on in the week, there were people in Morva, I believe it was, that suffered certain landslide damage. So their houses were damaged, completely destroyed basically, and were seeking assistance, and they were sending a letter to the HDC to ask for assistance for emergency housing. And they interviewed one of the gentlemen, and he was basically near tears and said he was just evicted. He had to be evicted because he just doesn't have the funds to rent and stuff, because this was their house. And he was evicted from wherever he was, that he went in some temporary shelter with his children. And he was near tears, and people were very upset. And they interviewed Adrian Leonce, who is the minister in the Ministry of Housing. And his response was, yeah, well, we get in land, we seen where we could get land, and we seen where we could start to construct something with the people with the landslide. But don't take it, but I'm paraphrasing, but along the lines of, where we're going to try to assist, but just because you have a landslide or something, you can't come to the government. I'm paraphrasing. It's something like that. You don't want to open the door that everybody who have landslide damage or the house is lost in a landslide, they could just come to the government for assistance. A version of that. Mm-hmm. And it was telling to me that post-1962, because we're coming up to Independence Day, post-1962, in a country of 1.4 million people, with all of the money that Trinidad and Tobago has, since 1962, we are still in a position which is unacceptable to me as a citizen, that you have citizens living in those kinds of conditions. That woman, and that woman is just representative of one, I've seen others, which I've talked about on radio. And the response of Adrian Leonce, I felt, I don't know, unacceptable. What is, and why doesn't HDC have emergency housing? After all of the money that is poured into the HDC, these are people who lost their houses in a landslide, and they can't come to the state and say, well, I need some sort of emergency housing And the state is going to say, well, we're looking for a piece of land and we will construct something for you. How long that going to take? When people need assistance now. And it's telling, and I remember reading this book by Sheikh what is his name? Ben Haddon Al Maktoum, I think is his name, who is the leader of Dubai. And in that book, and it was a book called Reflections on Happiness, he said his goal in developing Dubai, one of the fundamental cores of his goal was, how do I make the people I serve happy? And I think if politicians thought about that a little bit more at their core, you wouldn't get those kinds of responses that almost seem indifferent. And I wouldn't have to sit down on news and see citizens living in such terrible conditions, because I looked at that and I don't know if the Ministry of Social Development was activated, if the Ministry of Housing was activated when they saw that woman with a child and say, look, let's get proper housing for you, because that's the kind of society you want. And post 1962, it's taking too damn long for that kind of society to come.
Richard, I don't know because we were on that path at one point in time under Patrick Bannon, and since post 2010, we have not gotten back on that path. Sadly, we have not. I don't know if it's because of a financial or money thing or whatever, or if it's because policies changed or whatever, but we have not gotten back on that path. Sadly, we have not.
Can we look at the newspapers? Does anyone have physical newspapers?
I don't have any.
All right, it's Wednesday, 16th August. Let's start with the Express Online. UNC got the popular vote. UNC has risen is an article. Air Canada cancels Trinidad flights amid challenges. Chaguanas driver charged with raping, robbing, stabbing Venezuelan teen. Tobago finds itself the Italian connection. PNM's fish confident of win after crossing floor. 30-year-old father in Asia needed money for liver transplant. Let's move now to the Guardian Online. 14 LGE recounts ordered. EBC reveals 34.34% voter turnout. Is that what it was? I thought it was 30 point something.
30.34.
Why is the Guardian at 34.34? Isn't that the last one?
Well,
God, Guardian. Jeez, Guardian. UNC PNM in 7-7 deadlock again. Rowley, it could have been worse. NTA now the de facto third party insists Gary. Kamala, we gave the PNM a run for its money. This sounds like yesterday's headlines and for some reason. Mom and ailing son get help but still need building materials.
It must be that same story I must have referenced.
Yeah. UNC celebrates major win at Maryland. Yadari regrets not engaging swing voters. Let's move now to the Newsday Online. THA to invest more money in something. Unless Augustine showing signs of hubris syndrome. PNM wins 5-way race for Hollywood. UNC guns will cost PNM paradise. PP's Philip Alexander, everyone lost local government election. And THA to invest more money in TADCO. New York Street to be co-named Trinidad and Tobago Street. I think it's 113th Street, if I'm not mistaken, in Queens.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And Chinese businessman charged for San Fernando meth lab. I got some unshareable information on that. That's astounding.
In Trinidad, eh?
In Trinidad.
You don't think of meth labs being in Trinidad. It doesn't fit in your mind our cultural landscape. So it's strange.
Well, the petitions that had been made for him to be charged. Let me put it that way.
Is everything we try here in Trinidad?
Remember what the story said, eh? Okay, all right.
What the story said.
Okay, let me go into the story a little bit.
Paul, I'm going to send you a picture too. I would like you at some point in time to put it up because it was on the news last night. It's someone who I know. I know very well. So I would like you to put it up. They're asking you to share it. It's a picture of a young man who's gone missing from the Davide area. He actually lived right there on the priority bus route. Rodney Lewis is his name. So it was on the news last night, and I was kind of taken aback by it. So I got a picture of it from his sister. I got a picture of the post from his sister, and it's asking to be shared. I know I sent it to the Power Breakfast group, but I also just sent it to you so that you can share it. It's a news item, right?
A 32-year-old Chinese businessman is expected to appear before a San Fernando magistrate yesterday, Tuesday, charged with possession of methamphetamines for the purpose of trafficking and possession of an apparatus. He was arrested last Thursday when special branch officers executed a search at the residence's South Park in San Fernando. They discovered a clandestine lab cache, precursor chemicals, packets of crystals of various sizes resembling methamphetamine. Police said it was the first methamphetamine lab to be discovered in TNT. The discovery followed extensive intelligence-led operation in partnership with U.S. law enforcement agencies. I stress that loudly for a reason. The Chinese nationals were represented by attorneys Larry Williams and Tony Roberts.
Oh, okay.
All right. So this is the headline.
South American coastline is not that far. Thank God they actually have him still in the country.
All right. So before we get into this morning's poll, I'll give you the results of yesterday's poll. And let's say good morning to some of those that send us a message via YouTube, such as H.S. Wilson, Leonard Naipaul out in North Carolina, Eastland Alexander in sunny London, Gloria Gray, Mo Gaines, Rena Budu Jennings, Ring Leader, good morning to you, Lando, Ivan Thomas, Curtis Piggott, Raul Prasad, Sheldon Smith, Karen Bernard, Gloria Gray, Mrs. R. Winston, Jones, Randy Kelly, the great, good morning to you as well. All right. Of course, let's get the results of our morning poll. Good morning, GNC, Auto Security, CJ New York, Mr. Carapo, Ambrose, good morning. Are you surprised with the results of the local government elections? Are you surprised? Results after this.
Hi there.
Honey, you made his dreams come true.
Send and receive money this school year with MoneyGram to fulfill their dreams for their education. You can win weekly supermarket vouchers valued at $500 every time you send or receive with MoneyGram. With locations nationwide, send or receive money from any Massey Financial Remittances Service Limited, Massey Stores location, or MoneyGram agent. Check our Facebook and Instagram pages for details. This promotion has been approved by the NLCB.
All right, yesterday's poll. Are you surprised with the results of local government elections? The results are in. 66%, 66 said no. Not surprised. All right, this morning's poll.
You know, I never gave the poll results yesterday.
I know.
I'm sorry. Say that again, right?
Yeah. I never gave the poll results yesterday when people voted. We went straight into interviews and I never gave it. Okay. Anyway, go on with the poll, Paul.
So the poll this morning, coming from the expose read by Wendell, coming from, is it Gavin Nicholas?
Yes.
Suggesting that Trinidad Tobago is essentially a two-party state. The question is this morning, do you agree with that? Is Trinidad Tobago essentially a two-party state? Yes or no?
All right, 222-8255, toll-free North Americans, 866-525-1099. Those on YouTube, love to know where you're watching us from. Let us know, yes or no. And those on our mobile app or our website, we'd love to hear from you too. Tell us where you're messaging us from. All right? Do you believe that TNT is pretty much a two-party state, says Gavin Nicholas? Yes or no? All right, call us right now, message us right now.
It says me too,
right.
because I agree with you.
Randy Kelly says no. Thank you, Randy. Right. Randy Kelly says no. Good morning to you. Uh-huh.
I want to tell H.S. Wilson, whoever he or she or it is, I've been a victim of crime. And if you've been listening to this program long enough, you'll know that. So to say that crime is of no concern to me, you are so way off and delusional. But I'm only reading one of your messages because you refer directly to me. I generally don't read your messages. I think you're a very disrespectful person, whoever you are.
Why would they say that crime is no concern to you?
I don't know.
We talk about crime all the time on this show, and every one of us on this show have experienced crime.
Yeah.
Correct.
And every one of us on this show knows somebody who has been murdered.
Yep.
It's startling. It's startling. Because I am sure the people who live in certain countries who have never experienced crime and who don't know anybody who's been murdered.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Kenny out in Harlem says my vote on this poll is yes. Mo Gaines, top of the morning, yes to the poll. GNC Auto Security says yes. D, sadly, it might be, but I'll say no to the poll today. Okay. GB says yes to the poll. Kazim Mohammed says yes.
Wendell, you recording, right?
Yeah, yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Okay, so I'm about to transfer, so.
Wow.
Yep. Do you agree that Trinidad and Tobago is essentially a two-party state? Yes or no? Gary Griffith seems to think his NT is the third force. No, it's not, Gary. It's not, sorry.
Well, they all say they're the third force. They're all saying that.
What about Hope? Timothy Hamilton and them with them. They say they're the third force.
Stretch says yes. Wendy Ann says yes. Winston Jones on YouTube says yes. Vaughn Drayton says yes. All right, give us a call, 222-8255. North Americans toll-free number, 86525-1099. Do you think Trinidad and Tobago is essentially a two-party state? Yes or no? All right. Leonard Nightfall says yes. Thank you, Leonard. Lorna. Morning, Lorna. Morning, Indy. Morning, Carly. Yeah, I think so. Thank you, Lorna. All right. Rena Jennings says yes.
Yeah. The only time I think a third party will factor into it is after the polls, not before. After the polls, let's say in Tobago, a third party, the party in Tobago wins a Tobago seat or the two Tobago seats, then it will matter. You understand? But it's not going to matter if it's in Trinidad. Trinidad is going to go down the way it's going for years to come. And as I say, unless the UNC could find a way to get the East-West corridor to vote for them, they're going to remain with those seats that they have. It ain't going to change. At least not in the foreseeable future. I don't see it changing because people are not going to trust these parties coming together again for the sake of just getting rid of the PNM, because that's the message they're sending the people, you know. We coming together to get rid of the PNM. We ain't going to fix this place, you know. And a lot of people have the impression that all of a sudden crime will stop, money will start to flow, everybody who will live in a fallen down decrepit house will get a new house. No, it's not going to happen so. And I want to tell Richard, and I agree with somebody who sent a message, even in some of the richest countries have people living in abject poverty still, you know. That is a fact of life.
Ish out in Malik says, sadly, yes. Miss Ingrid, my answer to the poll is no. Nothing is impossible. Wayne B, good morning, gentlemen. Yes. Josie Richardson says yes. Wendy Ann says, and vice versa, Wendell. All right. So 222-8255, toll free, North Americans, 866-525-1099.
If Wendy Ann is meaning the PNM not going to capture those central southeast too, you're absolutely right. That ain't going to happen either. PNM can't win Naparima, Oroput, Shkarni, it ain't going to happen. You understand? Those are realities that I have faced. Everybody, people don't have to face them. I face them.
All right, let's get some calls in. All right. Do you think Trinidad and Tobago is essentially a two-party state? Yes or no? All right. That's our morning poll. Of course, I'll stay up until tomorrow morning when I give you the final results.
Let's just say, and let me tell you how it is. Let's just say Rodney Charles, MP for Naparima, for 2 terms. Let's just say Rodney Charles decide, oh, I had enough for Kamala Prasad BSS and the UNC. I go in with PNM. And PNM say, okay, I'm putting you in Naparima. You really think he will win? No. If he contests Naparima seat for the PNM, you think he will win? Not going to happen. Let's just say Fitzgerald Hines decide I had enough of Dr. Rowley and the PNM, and he decided he want to go with the UNC and contest Lavantil seat for the UNC. You think he will win? No.
Alistair Hart says yes to the poll. Thank you, Alistair. Good morning to you. All right. Do you think TNT is pretty much a two-party state? Yes or no? What do you think? Call us, message us via our mobile app and website and on YouTube. Yeah. All right. So give us a call. Do you think TNT is essentially a two-party state? Yes or no? All right. Good morning to Ray out in West Palm Beach, Florida. Mr. Karapu says yes to the poll. CG out in New York says yes to the poll. You guys, Steve, you look exceptionally handsome this morning.
Oh,
thank you,
CJ. Tell you that.
Yes.
CJ, tell you that. Charmaine,
yes,
what is wrong
yes.
with you today?
Charmaine is my new best friend.
Morning, Charmaine. Morning, Riri.
Yeah. I saw
I
something.
have no words.
That's good. I saw something in the news group there where 3 people were shot at in Carnage. And a video circulated.
Based on the news, I thought there was a triple murder.
I saw it in the news group.
You know what? Last time I went to the person to have dinner, and
you went where to have dinner? Sorry, you broke up a little bit.
I went to the Pulse Paint to have dinner by Jenny's actually.
Okay.
And I got there at 7 o'clock, and coming out at about 8:30 minutes to 9. Port Spain was almost like a ghost town.
Serious?
Last night.
People like they're afraid to come, but at the inside of Jenny's was crowded there. I mean, hardly any cars in the streets.
People not walking.
The night before had a whole lot of people in that same area.
Well, that's election. That's around the corner from Bally's house. What do you expect?
Yeah, but what that area? Well, true. That's not normally quiet.
Yeah, it was. I was surprised as to how quiet it was. So wow, this is eerie.
Let's see. Ms. Maloney says yes. Carol Guevara says yes. Thank you, guys. 222-8255, toll-free North Americans, 866-525-1099. You have 3 minutes again to vote in our morning poll.
Yeah. Wayne B, you're right. That was an anomaly with Jack Warner when he went for Chaguanas West and won during the when he formed the ILP. And he went up as an independent against the UNC and thing. That was, but dying on an happen again. That happened just briefly. You understand? Because Jack Warner, with his brown bags of money, was able to deal with that at that point in time. But right after that, he tried it again and he gets his tail washed. You understand? It happened just like it's like a blip in the UNC's history where they voted in a strong UNC area for an independent candidate. It was a blip. So you're right. I concede that one.
Yeah. I'm getting reports that a tree has fallen on the road, the North Coast Road to Maracas. It's completely blocked off.
Jeez.
All right. So those coming out of Maracas to head to work, ouch.
That road is a constant work in progress.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah,
No
boy.
kidding.
I was just look at what it is. It's a constant work in progress. Constant.
The forestry division need to focus on that and Lady Young Road with those trees, especially during this time of the year. They need to just go out and focus on it and look and see what needs attending to. But we can't be going through this all the time, so.
Yeah.
Never a dull day.
Never a dull day. All right.
Time for me to take my holiday, though. I've been putting it off for too long.
Yeah. So 222-8255, toll-free North Americans, 866-525-1099.
I guess after the recounts, which should end today, how long does it take for the new aldermen and chairmen and stuff to be sworn in?
Well, they generally swear in the councillors, the elected officials, within 48 to 72 hours. So I expect that by Friday, the CEOs will be, before Friday, that is, the CEOs will be issuing those invitations for councillors to come in to be sworn in. Of course, City Hall, I don't know where they'll do it in City Hall because City Hall's auditorium is now a dormitory because it was converted during COVID for the police officers that they took in. So it's a dormitory. I don't know how they're going to use, where they're going to use in City Hall. They'll probably have to use the chamber, which is, in my opinion, too small.
It's still a dormitory?
It's a dormitory still. They still have not, because city police, we've been trying our very best to get a building for the city police for the longest while now. And it's just going wrong in circles, you know? I myself was championing that cause to try to help the city police. I was in contact with Minister Alison West regularly. I even dared to raise it in a general council, and I was surprised I got good support for it. But we've got nowhere with it as yet. Because the city police, there are too many city police officers to be in that cramped space. The space is just unsuitable. Yeah. You know, so I don't know if if they'll just do it at the chamber, or if they will try to get Napa or the government, the auditorium downtown, in the government campus. But that should take place, I'm hoping, by Friday. The councillors are sworn in. The parties will meet to decide who would be the aldermen in the corporation.
And we got to run to news.
You know, and then we take it from there.
Yeah. All right. Good morning to Bradley Snell. Let's get into our 7 o'clock major news. AV in.
This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
30.34% is the turnout for Monday's local government elections. The United National Congress wins the popular vote despite contesting 31 less seats than the governing PNM. The nation awaits the EBC update on the outcome of a recount of 14 electoral districts following Monday's LGE polls. Guyana's health minister confirms 2 children have died after being infected with dengue, and the first names of people killed by wildfires in Maui have been released by officials 1 week after at least 106 people were killed on the island. Details in a moment. This is news to 7 o'clock on Power 102 Digital. I'm Avril Sintel Bab. Good morning. 30.34% is the turnout for Monday's local government elections. This was revealed by the Elections and Boundaries Commission. It says with an electorate of 1,091,935 in 141 electoral districts in Trinidad, the total votes cast were 331,300 with 996 rejected ballots. EBC says recounts are ongoing in 14 electoral districts. The United National Congress has won the popular vote despite contesting 31 less seats than the governing PNM. Preliminary results released by the Elections and Boundaries Commission yesterday indicated the UNC received 43,093 more votes than the PNM in Monday's local government election. The UNC garnered 173,961 votes, while the People's National Movement got 130,868 votes. This margin is considerable given that the UNC contested 110 seats, while the PNM contested all 141 seats. Meanwhile, the nation awaits the outcome of recounts by the Elections and Boundaries Commission in 14 of the 141 electoral districts which were contested in the local government elections on Monday. UNC has asked for recounts in 12 districts, while the PNM is interested in 2 districts. The electoral districts and political party of the candidate requesting the recounts are Arima Northeast, UNC, Arima West, Omera, UNC, Orzenville, Tunapuna, UNC, Bagatelle, Blue Basin, UNC, Blanchisez, Santa Rosa, UNC. The UNC is also asking for Coquet, Taruba, 5 Rivers, Lengua, Indian Walk, Mayaro North, Sangre Grande Northeast, and San Juan East. The PNM is interested in recounts in Marabella West and Marabella South, Vista Bella. All recounts started at 3 p.m. on Tuesday at the office of the returning officer for the electoral district where the recount was requested. A 58-year-old man was granted $400,000 bail when he appeared before Shoguana's magistrate yesterday, charged with kidnapping and raping a Venezuelan minor. Denningston Spence of Shoguanas was charged with 2 counts of sexual penetration of a child, kidnapping, false imprisonment, indecent assault, malicious wounding, larceny, and possession of an offensive weapon when he appeared before the Shoguana's second magistrate's court. He was not called upon to plead for 7 of the offenses, but did plead guilty to the charge of larceny. Media reports say Air Canada has currently suspended service between Toronto and Port of Spain for 2023. A statement from the airline said at this point in time, they have no plans for the resumption of this route. 3 months ago, the Montreal-based carrier resumed service to Trinidad. However, a release indicated Air Canada appears to be having industrial relations challenges presently with ongoing pilot negotiations and/or industrial action, as well as the availability of pilots to operate its equipment. It is indeed unfortunate, it said. As a consequence, the anticipated recommencement of the Toronto-Port of Spain route for this winter schedule, which had already been registered with local authorities and flights sold, now has to be cancelled. 272 inspections have been conducted at pharmacies across the country to ensure the sale of drugs are safe and within the quality of standard for use by consumers. The Ministry of Health says the inspections were done from 2019 to 2022. These inspections ensure unregistered, expired, or illegal drugs are not sold to the general public. Inspectors can advise and issue warnings based on findings and breaches at pharmacies, as they have been advised on previous occasions. Pharmacists are reminded changes in chemical composition can occur in expired drugs, which may pose a serious threat to health of the public. The ministry says it will continue to monitor all pharmacies, inclusive of chain pharmacies, to ensure the public safety. You are listening to news on Power 102 Digital to 7 o'clock. Guyana's Health Minister, Dr. Frank Anthony, has confirmed 2 children, including a 9-year-old child, have died after being infected with dengue. The children have been receiving treatment at the intensive care unit of the Georgetown Public Hospital, and Dr. Anthony said no other child is receiving critical care after being infected with dengue. Media reports said one of the 2 children who died was a primary school pupil from Region 3 who spent 5 days in the ICU before passing away. The other child who died was an 11-year-old. Further afield, the first names of people killed by wildfires in Maui have been released by officials 1 week after at least 106 people were killed on the island. Just 2 people, 74-year-old Robert Dickman and 79-year-old Buddy Jantok, were named. 3 others were identified, but their names are being withheld until their families are notified. The catastrophic fire, which destroyed the historic town of Lahania within hours, has been followed by a slow and grueling search for victims. 20 sniffer dogs trained to detect bodies have led teams on a block-by-block search of the wreckage, a 5-square-mile area now filled with twisted metal and other debris. As of Tuesday evening, 27% of the disaster site had been searched. Governor Josh Green said in a televised address. He said the number of dead could climb significantly and even double over the next 10 days. Staying with international news, many U.S. hospitals are struggling to find chemotherapy drugs, antibiotics, and other life-saving treatments amid an escalating nationwide drug shortage crisis, as experts increasingly call for federal government action. About 1 in 3 hospitals say they've either skipped, delayed, or prescribed less medication to patients than was needed because of the supply gaps, according to a survey published Thursday by the American Society of Health System Pharmacists, a group that tracks U.S. drug shortages. Almost all hospitals in the survey say patient care is affected in some way. More details in this report from Al Jazeera.
Dr. Amanda Fader with Johns Hopkins Medicine says the cancer drug shortage in the United States amounts to a public health crisis.
It's devastating as an oncologist. We live to help our patients live longer, better lives. And so not having the tools at our disposal that we know can help our patients achieve this is terrible.
Cisplatin is credited as the drug that changed cancer treatment 50 years ago, skyrocketing the cure rate of testicular cancer and also effective against lung, breast, and ovarian cancers.
Moving on to weather news for the period today until midnight. Trinidad and Tobago, partly cloudy to cloudy at times with few light to moderate showers or rain over broad areas. There's a medium chance some of these showers would become heavy and or thundery. These conditions would improve gradually into nightfall. However, still expect isolated showers and the lingering thunderstorm. Look out for a forecast maximum temperature this morning of a cool 30 degrees Celsius, both at Piarco International Airport and Crown Point, Tobago. Currently, it is 24 degrees Celsius at Piarco International Airport and 25 degrees Celsius at Crown Point, Tobago, with rainfall at both localities. Recapping your headlines to 7 o'clock, 30.34% is the turnout for Monday's local government elections. Meanwhile, the United National Congress has won the popular vote despite contesting 31 less seats than the governing PNM. The nation awaits the EBC update on the outcome of the recount in 14 electoral districts following Monday's LGE polls. Guyana's health minister confirms 2 children have died after being infected with dengue. And the first names of people killed by wildfires in Maui have been released by officials 1 week after at least 106 people were killed on the island. I'm Avril Sindel-Bab. That was news to 7 o'clock on Power 102 Digital. Look out for more news in detail at 12 noon and an update coming up at 8 o'clock this morning. For more details, log on to
FM.com.
Up to date and credible.
We all have
Power 102 Digital.
All right, thank you so much, Avi, for our major news. Of course, you can join
Hi, Avi. Morning.
8 o'clock this morning with our news brief. All right, thank you, Avi. See you then. All right, gentlemen, let's see what's happening on the highways and on the byways. We headed to Port of Spain. Most places are rain. Heard some thunder in Port of Spain. If you're leaving, let me tell you, San Fernando, you got a lot of sticky traffic this morning. That's Solomon Hutrai Highway. you're going to pick up traffic this morning from the well, if you want to call it the start or the end, however you want to call it, heading straight up towards Chaguanas. All right, it is traffic going through Calcutta 1, 2, and 3, Rivulet Road, usual streets in San Fernando, leaving La Brea, heading to the creek. You've also got traffic there this morning. But after Chaguanas, you're pretty much clear until the interchange. Trin City towards Yui, you got some traffic. I'm seeing there's one accident. It's a minor accident. It's eastbound in the vicinity between El Toro and Aranguez. That's eastbound. But you'll pick up traffic again from Barataria heading into Port of Spain. Okay, nothing out to the west thus far. All right, got a couple more votes. Panjaz says absolutely yes. Thank you, Panjaz. And Bijon Clement says yes as well. All right, so let's get the results there.
All right. Of course, this morning we asked, do you believe that Trinidad and Tobago is essentially a two-party state? 22 people said yes, 3 people said no. 22 said yes, it is. We are essentially a two-party state, and 3 said no. All right? That's the results of our poll today. This poll will stay up again until tomorrow, so
yeah,
I guess.
As I said earlier on, the North Coast Road to Maracas is blocked off by some fallen trees. I'm being told by the PS in waiting that crews are already on the way up to clear that road. Okay?
The PS in waiting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Let me all right, you guys go ahead.
All right. I'm trying to follow these messages Ruben sent you. All right. So, but congratulations to my candidate, my new councillor, Imran Khan. I have to tell you, I have been around a lot of people in terms of the politics, but it was really a pleasure working with Imran. He is such a quiet, unassuming young man. You know, always has a pleasant smile, always has a pleasant greeting. I know politics could change people. I hope it doesn't change him. I hope he remains as humble and as genuine as I have known him for quite a while. And that he goes out there and serves the people. It's not going to be easy because there's going to be a lot of expectations, especially someone coming from the Cocorit area representing St. James West. It's going to be tough for him, but, you know, I think he will do well. You know, so congratulations, Imran Khan. Of course, congratulations, Jamil Biznat and Owen St. Rose. All these 3 campaigns those are the campaigns that I essentially worked on. I mean, I assisted as many people as I could, but those 3 in particular, down in the west of Port of Spain, I know there was a lot of talk about Owen in terms of his readability, you know, if that's a word. You know, but you know, he was also a new candidate in the area. He and Imran were 2 new candidates down in the west, and they pulled through. They did pretty well, pretty good. So congratulations to all 12 members of council for Port of Spain. Congratulations to them all. You know, you have a 4-year term, so you know for sure you have a lot of work to do and start planning. I hope you all get the right support people in there in terms of no, Brian, that's not going to happen. I tell people already. I don't know why people feel whilst they know and I know I'll make a good mayor. They're not gonna. It's not gonna happen. I'm too open. I speak my mind too much and I get in trouble. A lot of people don't always like what I say. You know, so. It's not something that, and you know the politics is good, right? I think I've been around it long enough, right? If it happens, well, all power. I'll send in a ticket, especially though for Mr. Ellie. But I'm not very hopeful. And if it, as I tell you, if my political life ends now in terms of representation, I have no regrets, absolutely none. I'm very thankful. I'll continue to do this radio wherever. Take my laptop around the world wherever I go and join you all and pretend like I ride back home in Trinidad. Do we have any interviews coming up, Paul?
Steve should let us know.
Yeah, well, we were supposed to have Mr. Colin Minbert on this morning. I guess that didn't turn out.
Well, it's not that. I did message him. I messaged him early this morning to reconfirm, and he is involved in the PNM supervision of some of the recounts. So he said he will apologize again and defer to when this recount issue is over. So.
Yeah, because he kind of is the liaison officer with the EBC. He has always done that for years.
So,
yeah.
He did.
But as I say, look, Raphael John, who is the candidate for San Juan East, as I say, he has already posted that that his recount was completed and he got another vote in that recount, and UNC lost a vote. But I don't know the actual vote count in that area, why the recount was asked for, how close it was. But his recount is completed, which is San Juan East. So I don't know if they did it in alpha order, well then I would imagine all the recounts were completed. Because his district, I think, is the last district on the list. San Juan East.
All right. I'm getting reports that there is flooding in the Penal area. So for those in that area, that'll explain the traffic. And it's heavy rain in south right now.
Oh.
Yeah.
Arima is just a slight drizzle.
Yeah. Heavy rain.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I'm drinking juice this morning. You know why I'm drinking juice this morning? I'm so not a grocery shopper. I went in the grocery and picked up a bottle of coffee the other day. I didn't look at the cap. And I took the bottle of coffee down to my office for election morning to make coffee for those who came out at 4 o'clock. And a partner of mine, he watched it. See me, he said, what are you drinking decaf coffee for? I said, what do you mean decaf coffee? I said, I don't drink decaf coffee. He said, but you can't see, this is a different cap. You didn't look at the cap? I said,
you took the green cap.
I took the blue cap.
It's blue? I thought it was, okay, it's a different one then.
It's blue. And I'm saying, no, I wouldn't know that. I didn't even look at the bottle of coffee to see it marked decaf. But it's in Spanish, So that's why I'm drinking juice. I don't drink.
I drink Nescafe Gold. I like Nescafe Gold.
I can't drink decaf coffee,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm trying to get on to Fern Narcissus Cheese. I have to call her back in just over 5 minutes.
Are you renaming the woman?
Sorry?
What's that? Sorry,
said
Fern
what did I
say?
Oh, you're trying to get EBC? Fern Narcissus Scope.
Scope, sorry.
How did that interview go on Monday? I couldn't listen.
Quite good. She's very competent.
Okay. Good to hear. All right. So I'm being told the recounts are taking place simultaneously. So all but one started yesterday around 3. Okay. All right. So the recounts, I guess between now and midday, you'll probably get the results of all the other recounts.
One would hope so we can move forward from this.
Yeah. Because that will prevent people from being sworn in. Yeah, the EBC has to confirm the results and then release it to the parties, and then the heads of the different corporations. In other words, there are mayors and chairmen in office as we speak. They've never gone out of office. They only go out of office when a new mayor or new chairman is appointed. Along with the chief executive officer, they could start planning the swearing-in ceremonies of the 141 new councillors across the different corporations.
So is Port of Spain, is it all new councillors?
No, Port of Spain will have 4 new councillors.
Okay.
8 incumbents and 4 new councillors. The new councillors are Imran Khan, Owen St. Rose, Raphael Bones, and Alicia Gift. Those are the 4 new councillors.
I can open the phone that people share their views and what they thought of the election. 222-TALK, 222-8255, 612-8255. And if you are in North America, toll free, 866-525-1099.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Canada stopped behind the Trinidad. Very strange stop after 3 months alone. I don't know, is it that the route wasn't competitive enough?
No. They announced in
back
May.
in November.
And they announced in May they're going to do 4 flights, Toronto bound. 2
I think
weeks.
from November, not so?
But they have now canceled that because of industrial situations such as staffing and aircraft.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, those are booked flights. I've either gotten an email or a telephone call, and we'll get a refund. All right, we don't have a call. Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Good morning. Just 2 simple matters. Great program. Wendell, nobody has really complimented you, but I think I was in Hawaii last week when I heard you predicted the results 7-7. Everybody else is talking about everybody else, but they never call your name. So I'm giving you your props right now.
Thanks, Mr.
Rubasin, your comment really had me cringing. And here again, I am proving my comment that I have said in the past. There are too many deadweights in the cabinet of the PNM government. For a young man like Adrian Lyons to give that kind of response for somebody in distress, it is really sickening. And I feel the Prime Minister should pull him up. I mean, in New York City, the mayor has tons of people going out to look at, to survey the homelessness in the city. I mean, right now, he's doing very good work at that. I mean, people who are homeless are being housed in shelters and moving to housing. I mean, I don't understand. I am not saying Trinidad has all that money, but you do not have 200 homeless people on the streets in Trinidad. So I don't understand what is the difficulty in this. I mean, there are too many deadweights, man, in this government. I mean, it is sickening. I mean, people are in distress. I mean, you have the resources to help them. I mean, why keep that kind of response? Gentlemen, have a great day. I'm listening. God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
New York.
Good morning. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. Good morning.
Morning.
Well, I want to congratulate you on your call. I mentioned you yesterday, I said, but Wendell called it as it happened. Well done on your foresight.
Yeah, man.
But I want to ask a foolish question. They say no question is a foolish question, but I know the reason why it's not being done. After the 1818 incident in Trinidad and Tobago, and the government saw it fit not to have an even number of seats, and they changed that. Didn't the foresight in the government see it wise to do the same with local election?
Why? The implications are not the same. You don't form a government from local government election. That's the difference.
Yeah.
Yes, but in terms of the dilemma that we're in now, everybody will know the draw.
What dilemma we're in? Anybody could say anything. They're not in any dilemma.
No, I don't think we're in a dilemma, Lincoln.
The classification of win or not win is irrelevant in a local government context.
I have a clear 8, 7, or 9, 6, whatever, and not be in this 7-7 situation that everybody is at times.
So what's wrong with the 7-7 situation?
Well, I just see it as a draw. Nobody could say, well, okay, they definitely have more.
But okay, and what are the implications of this, in parentheses, in quotations, draw? It's a corporation issue, and each corporation operates independently. And when we move on, so the implications are not the same as for a national election, where in our first past the post system, the person with the most number of seats wins the election and forms the government. Not the same.
Okay.
It's just somebody who somebody said they win. That's it. Don't make a difference.
It doesn't matter in local government, Lincoln. It really doesn't.
Let me ask another question then. Why is it that we keep mentioning that we have the popular vote, like if it's an issue, but we don't change the constitution to the majority wins?
Well, it's not really an issue. It's a talking point, but it's not really an issue in the larger scheme of things. Again, it depends on who wins districts and who is in control of the corporation. And even with the new iteration, it's not going to make a difference because they still have to work together.
Yep.
So I'm not talking about local election now. I'm speaking about general.
Right? It's a bragging right, Richard. Lincoln. It's a bragging right. At the end of the day, that's it.
I guess that is it. It's just a bragging right. But I feel well, in response to your question, Steve, I feel disappointed that we could determine a leaders of a constituency and even a general election with a mere 30% of the vote of the population.
That's how politics are worldwide, I don't know. It's not different anywhere else,
But
you can't.
I know you have Jehovah's Witness. I know you have the people who don't vote, but 70% of the people don't have not choosing not to take part in this franchise. That
they are uninspired to get out of the house and vote.
And that's their right. That is their right.
Wow, it's sad.
In other words, Lincoln, none of the above.
All right, let's put it this way. I could give all you an example in Port of Spain, and I already even down to St. James. There are several people there who will support the PNM, who supports the PNM, but they just, oh gosh, Wendell, all you done win. That's the language. Oh gosh, Wendell, all you have no competition. Oh gosh. And then they say, well, we ain't go out and vote. But that don't mean the next day they ain't coming to ask for representation. And that is also their right. So that's how politics. I've been around too long to know that you're not going to get everybody to get up and vote, especially in a local election. You're not going to get everybody. I only have control over my circle. You see, my children, my relatives, they vote. And I tell them, and because we lime as a family, I tell them they better go and vote. You understand? I only have control over that thing.
You also tell them who to vote for?
I don't have to tell them that. I don't have to tell them that.
Lincoln, clearly you haven't seen the entrances home. It's lined with Belizier. It's lined, front is lined with Belizier. The walkway to the front is lined with Belizier. There are Beliziers in the vases in the house. And there are flags around the house. There's no ambiguity at all.
None, absolutely none.
I'm surprised you haven't a blue jersey this morning.
I do this to provoke Gary.
And a contribution that Gary made. I hear Gary making some statements. Gary said in the last election, the PNM won with 1,000 votes. This election, because of his influence, because of his party, they won with 200 votes. So my question
I don't know where you get that from, no?
No, but here now. But my question is, if it was because of your intervention, so that means you get the 800 votes. So why you didn't win? But no journalists, people are afraid Gary ripped them up and call them is a stupid question and all these kind of things. So journalists are afraid to ask Gary common sense questions just based on the nonsense that he says. All you have to do is ask.
You're clearly using the word journalist very generously.
Generous. Well, you're absolutely right. And I made a conscious decision to not refer to them as journalists and meteorologists. I like to call them weather guys.
But watch out what she went in front of the Prime Minister asking him and telling him, oh, NTA get 30,000 votes in Diego Martin.
Well done there. She may have gotten it on Google. You don't know. She is a Google specialist.
Yes, she's a Google specialist.
Google may have informed her that Gary got 80,000 votes.
Oh, Gary must message her and say we get 30,000 in Diego Martin.
Yeah, and she ran out with that foolishness.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I'll not take up a lot of
She said with conviction. Eh?
All right, Lincoln, take care.
She said with conviction.
Yes, she said with conviction again. The Prime Minister's face was priceless. 30,000 what? You mean Guyanese dollars?
Which I found was an off-color statement, given where Guyana is now.
Well, I don't know why he said it, but I think
we will get there eventually.
I don't know that we could be laughing at Guyana right now.
No, but it didn't match. It didn't match the votes. It didn't match the total because dollars against votes. It didn't match. But I think sometimes he just say, "Oh, come in here." Yes.
Clearly.
Good morning.
10 years ago when Ghana was struggling, but Ghana is not struggling now.
but the exchange rate hasn't changed much. It hasn't improved.
Good morning, caller.
Morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Good morning.
I listen. I looked at CNC 3 and saw that map you were talking about, Wendell, and I am saying, Lord, what is this? Thank God I was following the results. Somebody called me from the United States and say, wait, UNC get all those seats? I said, listen. I say, you see, that is fake news. I say, please. I say, and that is my reason. I told you all I don't buy newspapers.
It's not fake news. It's not
fake news. What's fake news?
No, she would have been responding to it at the time, Richard, without knowing what it signified.
I don't buy newspapers because there's too much of fake news. Why must I told you all, Tuesday is the cheapest, $3. You put 2 more, you could buy a lot too. Express and Guardian 4, you can buy, and I could smile all the way to NLCB on Duke Street. I am not wasting my money. Lord, I had to try and convince that person. She said, what the hell going on down in Trinidad? I said, no. I said, that is not how it went. So, by there, I want to know what the Guardian feel by putting that. What you achieve? The UNC still has 7. The PNM still have 7. So that fake news, it ain't helping.
It's not fake news. It's not fake news. That's what the map looks like.
No,
yeah, it was about landmass.
Oh, please. That is to convince what? UNC win that? So what are you paying that for? Normally, I remember years ago you're seeing the areas where it had red in 20. You put a map out and put most of it with yellow and, well, what are you trying to do? You have people in America going crazy wondering what the hell going on down with all your day in Trinidad? And thank God I was able to convince her that is not how it went. It's 7-7. That's how they should have put it. Half
But
red, half
7-7, but that's how the map looks.
But that is nonsense. That is what they try to do. And I'm
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Worry.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Thank you, Digger Martin.
God, but if you worry, that rubbish.
All right. Thank you, Digger Martin.
God, I don't know how to talk sense to that.
No, don't just leave it alone.
You can't. Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Mr. Martin, keep heart. You see the people away don't know. Rivers and bush and swamp and so don't vote. And it's only that girl from Tobago to tell them. The MP from Tobago. Nobody lives there. It's bush and river and swamp and hills and gullies and so. So that is all right. Let them get that as a talking point that make themselves look stupid. But African people, the descendants of the Africans, they had to realize we have to change our culture. What you see go on there and the boasting about popular vote, it has to do with culture. culture. We just like to vex quick with Dr. Rowley, and he too black and we don't like him. Or they come out the next time and vote. You understand? And that is what them others do. Here now, that woman down in the central days, the Mahatma, she could beat upon them, she could ignore them, they will come out and vote, and that is the difference with us. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.
I want to add to that. I just want to counter that. At local level, whilst in some districts you may have that issue of race, I could speak for Port of Spain. I especially could speak for St. James, because St. James is a diverse mix of people. Okay? And in St. James, we had an East Indian candidate, and he got everybody to vote for him. You understand? And he is well loved.
Of who live in there, and when don't try to polish it up.
No, I don't have to polish it. I'm not polishing it. I'm not attempting to, Zina, I'm not even attempting to polish. I'm giving you a situation that I'm personally involved in. It has absolutely nothing to do with race, especially in St. James.
Right, and because they live in an area that is, we call it PNM area. So who you go really get from here to support the UNC? But I'm saying, and it has to do with the geography too.
But there are African people there are African Trinidadians who vote for the UNC too.
Listen, this country, watch the election and watch the
this race thing, or they like to grab
all you put polish it up all you want and put all your head in the sand. This country is divided.
We know that, Zina. But I'm just giving you my perspective from where I sit. Because I said it before that this country, it won't change much. It won't change much in terms of how the voting goes again. It won't change.
And it's because of that.
Largely.
So thank you, and you all have a wonderful day.
Okay, take care.
Good morning to you.
I'm going to make breakfast this morning.
Yeah. Morning, caller.
Good morning. Morning, guys. Morning, honey.
Morning, Mrs. R.
Darling, thank you. Hear this, Wendell. So yesterday when I walked into the office now, they were like, usual heckling me and everything, because everybody know where I stand. And I responded like, did you vote?
Where do you stand?
Ask Mr. R.
Yeah. I know very clearly where she stands.
Exactly. But my thing is, I have a little different twist. Hear my point. So I asked a few of them, and Paul, you keep saying, and Norma darling, sugar pie just now say, you're pushing race. It's not a matter of pushing race to it. Facts are facts. And when I ask some of them in my office, did they vote? Hear them. No, why? What the PNM doing? So that is be the mindset too, right? I say, so yet still, you all will not come out and vote. But you will see the average other race, right? In my office, they all voted. And guess what? You know what the African quote-unquote descendants would say? Well, when Kamala was there, we used to get. So you see the mindset, Wendell, of some of the people who a little bit, I don't want to say maybe less educated about the whole local reform and the whole everything. You see how they think? They think that, okay, when Kamala is there, they get stuff. And then when the PNM is there, they don't get. So a lot of them don't vote. And that is so naive and ignorant. But the bottom line is, Rich, you're not hearing. The East Indians, they don't make them stupid remarks. Because jump high, jump low, just as Wendell said this morning, and I said, go to the front of the class. If for some reason Fitzy fall out, or I should say, Minister of Security, to be professional, falls out with our PM, and he decides to jump and go on board with, be it Pep or whoever, you really think any of them going to vote differently? They're not, and that is the harsh reality. Sina might say it a little different to me, but that is the bottom line, Paul. And jump high, jump low, twist it how you want, it boils down to that. They come out, they vote. They don't have to divulge.
But let me tell you something. A large reason why people vote along racial lines in any jurisdiction, it is because the system is not set up in a way that people feel, no matter who is in power, that the resources will be distributed equitably. So they default to a mindset that if someone who looks like me is in power, I will get more. And that's what drives that.
Yep.
But again, Paul,
people vote in elections for representation so that their needs are met. That's why this system exists, to ensure that needs are met. And our system, unfortunately, doesn't seem to have been evolved enough so that people get the impression, whether accurate or not, that issues matter more than people who look like me, so that the resources are distributed, unfortunately.
How do we do it?
But I think that is happening. There's so many Indo-Trinidadians who vote for the PNM now. Even in that Diego Martin conference, there were some who were former UNC people and saying that they're no longer with the UNC.
I'm not saying that they voted for UNC. No, don't get me wrong. That is their decision. That's their choice. People could vote for who they want. I am just saying why it is. If you do a little easy survey, you see so many African people not getting up and voting. Why? I'm not saying that they have to vote for PNM. Don't get me wrong.
Why that is a function that then Christy, that is a function of the
Mrs.
leader.
R, you have to remember, Mrs. R.
All right, we have a lot of calls coming for you.
That is a function of the leader of the People's National Movement. The Prime Minister has to.
But how much again, Rich, he will talk? How much again he will talk and educate people? By now, I could write an essay, Richard, on local reform.
No, it's not just about local government reform. It's a bigger issue of, because you have a jaded, but let me finish speaking. There is a jaded public. There's a jaded public in terms of the politics and how they see how the politics relates to their quality of life. And the Prime Minister has to understand that. And I'm talking about Prime Minister generally. Right now, it's Dr. Rowley has to understand that. And how do you reach those people? How do you motivate people? How do you inspire people?
I don't know what again he could do, and that's my point too. I hear you, but what again he has to do?
When I asked Dr. Rowley that question when he was with us, I said, "What's your leadership style? When you self-reflect, what's your leadership style? Are you do you inspire? Do you think you inspire people or motivate people?" What was his reply? His reply was,
but Richard and Mrs. R, the bigger question is,
his reply was, I don't know who I inspire. And then he went to talk about, well, there is transformation, and he went down the road of local government reform and stuff. And to a certain extent, he didn't understand, in my opinion, the fundamentals of the question I was asking. I didn't challenge him on it because the interview was ongoing. But when you reply, I don't know who I inspire as a leader, that's a moment of self-reflection.
But
because you don't know who you're inspiring.
Definitely.
I think the bigger question is, while we're splitting hairs on.
All right, thank you, Mr. Stewart.
More than why, we have to ask ourselves in an overall sense, why 700,000 people didn't vote.
Yes.
Because you could ask yourself, well, the UNC voters went out and voted more than the PNM voters, not by much when 300,000 went and vote.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? The bigger picture to me is why you couldn't get 700,000 eligible voters to go out and vote.
But I just gave you all some of the reasons why people in a local election, one, they don't feel anything is going to change, right? And some people, especially in PNM-oriented areas, feel, well, I don't need to because all you go win. And I mean, I've been campaigning. You all just hear on the radio. I am actually actively involved in campaigning.
To counter that, the UNC got about 173,000 votes.
Mm-hmm.
The large proportion of potential UNC voters also didn't go out and vote.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying.
It's not only a PNM thing.
Right.
It is not only a PNM thing.
Right. I'm
a
not
lot of
disagreeing
it
with you.
is a lot of it is what is the value of my vote in you changing my life? It's a simple statement. If, for example, look at Foster Cummings, Wendell. When we for the general elections, we talked to Foster Cummings about Lauketa and all of that traffic on Tumpuna Road. Okay, and he had lots to say. Yes, we're going to deal with that problem, that issue, because you have all of these. You know what I'm talking about. Anybody who's in the area.
But essentially that's not in his hands after.
I know, but he said as the representative when we interviewed him that it was going to be addressed. It has not been addressed, and this is the second term of the People's National Movement.
But
so you have all of those people. So what do you think is going to happen? All of those people that are stuck in that traffic and that bad road, because it's a bad road, exiting into Lauketa, exiting into Grandy, exiting into West, it's a major thoroughfare. What are all those people sitting now in that traffic thinking?
Richard, you see me? I always
local government does not work for me, and representatives don't matter.
Right. But I always tell, I can only talk for my style, and I've spoken to Imran about that. Do not make promises. Do your best for people without making a promise to people. And that is why I tell all somebody like me, Richard, if I was a different person, we wouldn't even be discussing if you go be the mayor or whatever. I would have do whatever I had to do and see whatever I had to see to make sure I would have been the only choice as mayor. But that's not my style.
Go ahead,
that's not my
please.
style. I've never been. Oh, gosh, let me just finish talking. All right, man.
Good morning, Steve.
Morning.
Good morning to you all.
Morning.
How are you all today?
When I was so box, you must leave me sometimes a little bit,
Yeah, go ahead, caller.
Yes. Okay. For me, I had a comical part of it on the night of the when Ms. Kamala Prasad when she was reading all the results, the unofficial results. When she was, well, of course, I don't know down on that side belong to the UNC, right? At least 5, and she was reading all those with glee and smiling like if it's wow, she catch them because we never get it before. She was very happy. When she reached the East-West corridor now, like San Juan and Tunapuna, and those what she said in contention now, she didn't say that they didn't win it. She just said they are still counting or some other things that, it's not settled yet. When she reached Diego Martin, she said, we have made inroads, but I don't think they had a candidate. Did they have candidates when, that NTA candidates was down on Diego Martin?
Yeah, but they had an amalgamation, so it's a group result.
Really.
But it's NTA more or less, right? But she said we made inroads. Right? She said we made inroads in Diego Martin, even though they didn't win the thing, right? So when she reached Port of Spain, that time I had seen Port of Spain, the 12th district, so long before Diego Martin and even San Juan, Baratari and Tunapuna. She said when she reached Tunapuna, she flipped the page over. She said, I ain't get a result yet. Because she didn't get nothing from that district. And I laughed too bad. She didn't want to read all those and she didn't get nothing. But what's supposed to be like close, very close, she said, well, that close, inroads in that, inroads in the other. But those outright wins, even I remember when she said, well, we lost it by just 1 or something. But you see, Port of Spain, she didn't read that one at all. I see, but all is supposed to be read. Don't choose what they want to read. Because
but she's a politician, and of course she's going to
She's a
choose.
politician.
She's going to cherry pick.
But then she's not giving people.
She's not a journalist. She's not a journalist. She's a politician. So she would say, "This is what we do."
I laugh too bad, but the thing is,
you can't remember the election.
There's too much crosstalk is going on. Wrap up, caller.
I want to finish what I'm saying. Did you hear? You all hear when Khadija Amin said that there's going to be a UNC mayor for San Fernando? You all heard that?
No,
I was following it on both channels. She said it, but I was saying, I just saw on CNC3 that San Fernando West has gone to the PNM, but I mean, not San Fernando Corporation, but then she's saying on another station that, they will have a UNC mayor. And Mr. Dr. James said, smiling and things, say it's 8-6 because I understand San Fernando has gone
to the UNC, and he was good smiling. And even though he was wrong when they said it was 7-7, he never apologized for making a mistake or say, oh, I was wrong. He just said, well, I'll just have to wait on the data. But he was going to get data at that point in time, during that part of the night. So I say, this man is for real, because he just was feeling in a glee, and then he kind of boiled down because he didn't get the result that he was expecting. So I say, see how things change? This Dr. James, I used to listen to him religiously, and all of a sudden,
he was never independent. He was never independent.
I would have listened to him, but you see, right now it is so biased, and I hate when I listen to a political analyst taking one side and just being on one side and not seeing the other side. I can't listen to them anymore. I have to just forget about them because they're no longer a part of what I want to hear. Give me something what I want to hear from both sides, not one-sided. And before I go, do you know, I'm lucky to be alive today, because yesterday evening, right, just after 6, I stepped out of my car, talked to my brother, and I saw 2 guys walking in the road. A lot of people, but I saw 2 guys in particular walking in the road. But I normally like to watch people in the face and see how they're going, how they look and so on. And they walk past my brother and I talking to a lady now, my back turned. Next thing, I see a man come up to me, showing me a gun and tell me pass my car keys. So I said, what? Yeah, hand over the keys, but he's talking very easy. But I looked down, I see gun. I don't panic and I wasn't afraid. I said, I don't have any keys. He tried to search my pocket and I step back, I step back.
This happened in the public road?
Yep. But he was very, very quiet with it. So here what now? He walked to the car and he jumped in. He see another guy and he jumped, both of them jumped in because my brother was taking out something for me from the vehicle, So when he jumped, one jumped in the back and one went in the driver's seat. And then he's telling the next one, press the button. But like nothing was happening, right? I had the car in neutral at that time, right? So he came back out and he came to me, where the keys? He spoke a little louder. I say, it's in the car. But what I noticed, I can't say for sure, but I observed the gun was not looking like a real gun. I've seen many guns before, right? I say, but you know something? That's not a real gun, So I was still not panicking, and I wasn't scared. So he jumped in the car again, and they started trying to move the vehicle. But they couldn't move it. So he, they push, like when they push a vehicle, but they were inside the vehicle, and the tire was spinning. You know why? You just reach about, the tire just moved slightly, and it just put us sideways to the road. And a lot of people came, after and, came around them and they opened the car doors and they ran away. Because they couldn't get handbrakes down. They don't know where the handbrakes are located because those new model cars don't have the same kind of handbrakes like before.
Yeah.
They could not move the handbrakes. But thank God I'm alive. But I was not afraid at all. In fact, they couldn't reach far with the car anyway. Because I would have shut it down. So, I mean, they might have crashed it, But they couldn't reach far anyway. So, thank God for my life anyway. You know what I mean?
Glad to hear it.
Thank you, see how you describe that there? That's the danger sometimes when you just buy your car. You see, that was an opportunity. It was a crime of opportunity. They see you standing by your car with the car open, you and your brother, and they just say, hey, let's take that car. That's how I lost mine. You understand?
What people said, those 2 guys not from the area. Don't live there. Yeah, because one of the girls said, in fact, she said she saw them standing. One had a hoodie, and I didn't see the one with the hoodie so much because the other one who came to me had to say a plot and so on. But she said she saw them standing there a while, and she saw me cross the traffic light. And as soon as she saw me cross the traffic light, they started walking down. She said she was observing them, because she know they're not from there. And I say, well, okay. And she ran after them and all. And they, in fact, they had another car waiting on another street on the next side of the priority bus route. And they ran all the way there and jumped into that car because she was calling people to look out for them,
Yeah, sorry, you couldn't hold them and give them a good lesson in local government.
They came like 5 minutes, in 5 minutes time, and they just drive and they came out. They say, well, they didn't see the vehicle. I just say they jumped in, but Thank God, I'm here.
Yeah.
Report it. Yes, okay.
Thanks, Abedi.
Did I get a good lesson in local government?
Meaning?
Did I get a good lesson like PEP and PDP and NTA get in local government?
Which is Wendell? Which is?
So when did you running for the mayor then?
We have a call.
I'm not right. Hello, I just told you all before Ms. Dabedy came in. If I really wanted to be mayor of Port of Spain, and that was my sole purpose, I would have been, nobody else would have been considered. I would have do whatever I had to do. I would have say whatever I had to say. I would have go online with whoever I had a line. I would have been up front in all kind of meetings. I'd have been shaking all kind of hand. I'd have show up at every
we have a call here.
Let me finish now. I would have show up at everything
Caller,
I needed to show
we'll
up.
take it tomorrow.
Every event.
To be the mayor. In other words, everybody would have say, Wendell. You see how my name and call him? They call him Karim Marcel. They call him Brian Lewis. They call him Chino Allen. They call him all kind of name and they call him my name. Because them fellas have a purpose. I have none. I am about to serve, and if I do...
Tell me something, don't you have to be an alderman at least to be a mayor?
You have to be part of the council. Either on the alderman, you have to be an alderman or a councilor. So in other words,
they can't just put somebody outside of that to be mayor?
No.
Okay. Okay.
No, you can't. So right now, you have 12 people in the running for mayor. Who are the 12 councillors? When you add the 4 aldermen to that, you have 16 people in running for the mayor.
Okay.
And then, so you choose the mayor and the deputy mayor when you have the 16.
Right.
You understand? But again, as I say, I could have do whatever I needed to do to get my name up front. I could have promised all kind of things like how the politicians have promised things. Not Wendell Stephen.
When a council is going to be sworn in and stuff.
I was hoping that it would be by Friday, if not Monday, because there is a time frame under the act. I'll find it and I'll send it for you if I could get it by tomorrow, please God. There is a time frame under the act that you have to swear in the council.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
Yeah.
You'll have a great day and be safe out there. It's rainy today.
Yep.
All right, folks.
Go ahead.
Have a wonderful day. Remember to let go and let God.
All right, so just about 8 o'clock, just reminding you, of course, the theater is on this weekend. The final show of what you're looking at, Miss So 4, is on at Cipriani College on Saturday night, one night only. And of course, most places have their tickets already. Not everybody have the tickets, but most places have their tickets. And of course, the box office at Cipriani College opens from today, 12 noon to 6 p.m. And so most places have the tickets. You can check RSRR Productions Theater on social media for more information. And you can check if the outlet closest to you has tickets. As I said, most of them do. I don't think Pat Butler and Electronics, at least, haven't gotten it as yet. Anyway, speak to you bright and early tomorrow morning. Have a fantastic day, whatever you do.
I think I'll come that play on Saturday, God willing, Richard.
Yeah, but it's the last time, so.
Yeah, I'll come.
All right, Richard, tried Wendell. Thank you so much, Paul. All right, folks, keep it locked on. Even though we're off YouTube, we're still streaming, and we get into our 8 o'clock news brief. Good morning to Roma Road Thomas. All right.